Welcome back to Selena's table and our little Aussie homestead. I want to give you a quick garden tour today, but before we get out there, we are outside. You can hear the birds chipping in the background. I have started some seeds. Now, if you've been with me a little while, you'll know that I've had a lot of trouble growing things through summer, but really great success growing in winter. So I have started a bunch of seeds in anticipation for getting a head start on our yearly crop, I've decided, because we've had the most hot, humid summer in a long time this year, and a lot has died, a lot has failed out in the garden. We have not been harvesting much, so I thought I'm going to get a head start on what I need to grow as the weather starts to cool down. I have noticed a slight cool change happening, not so much during the middle of the day, but night times are just a little bit more pleasant. So I've gotten a head start, I've gotten some seeds started, and I thought I'd show you how I do that, or what I'm doing, before we head out into the garden and have a look. So here we have a couple of trays, and I'm just sitting them in the veranda now because as the morning sun comes through, these are getting a bit of sunlight. I did have them over here on this rack, and you can see there's lettuce over there still. So we are just letting these get accustomed to some sun. And what I have started is, I've got some Jap pumpkin over here. I've got some zucchinis. I have beans, which are desperately ready to go in the garden. And I have some cucumber. I haven't had great success growing cucumber in our winter, but I had utter failure this summer with the cucumbers, so I thought I'll give it a go anyway. We've got a couple of little tomatoes, a couple of varieties, and some peas. And then heading over here, I did plant these up only yesterday, so here I've got a bunch of other things, some tomatoes, different cabbages, different kinds of pumpkins, some herbs, and all I've done is use a mixture of garden compost out of my worm farms, some coir, I think that's how you say it. It's a coconut fibre product that you rehydrate in water, and some potting sand, and that's all this is. It's a really fine medium for the seeds. There's not a lot of nutrition in here other than that worm compost, and there I actually harvested a worm, so I'll pop him back out into the garden. But other than that, it's a really fine, easy medium for the seeds to get started. So that's how I've gotten some seeds started early before my garden beds are quite ready to have them planted in it. I will get some beetroot in the ground today. I've brought a basket, not so much for harvesting, but more so for just carrying some bits and pieces. I've got some packets in there so I can collect some seeds. I have my rough plan that I like to draw up, and fair warning, it's a bit of a disaster out here at the moment, especially if you've been following for a while and you've seen how beautiful this garden can be. As I said, really hot summer, really humid, and we just got smashed with that Queensland fruit fly. There is a couple of things I want to show you, and I have been out here the last 3 days working quite hard at digging out a lot of grass and a lot of weeds out of a couple of garden beds so that they could be ready for planting. So it's not all bad, but there is some real mess, and it does need to be mowed. So just showing you the raw truth of what a February in southeast Queensland garden can look like. This is, if nothing else, this is a diary entry for me to keep track of where we're at. So come with me and you will see it is a bit of a secret garden going on. That is my passion fruit. It has completely covered the gate. I do still open and shut it, and we are getting passion fruit now too, so let's go. There's a passion fruit right there. We are getting a lot of these beautiful yellow passion fruits, and although they look bug damaged, they've actually been perfectly fine on the inside. So under this net here, I have replanted some herbs because my herb bed, which is just there, has been completely taken over by sweet potato. So I've just moved you around the corner. That's the new herb bed. Under there, that's the old herb bed, because you can see the rosemary's still in here. and that has been completely taken over by sweet potato. I didn't plant it, it's just there. It has taken off. I did plant sweet potato in that far bed, and you can see there's just a little bit there, but this bed has taken over, and some tomatoes have popped themselves up as well. So I'm going to leave these here and just let them do their thing. The herbs that are still in there will stay there. The volunteer tomatoes that have come up will stay there, and the sweet potato can just do its thing. I'll trim off what I need to make sure we don't have a snake problem, because even though it is going to be coming into winter, we still will have snakes. And the far bed here, that one there, those tomatoes planted themselves as well. So I haven't decided. I'm either going to leave them, or I'm actually going to move the 3 corrugated beds that are in a row there to a different spot in the garden, because as you can see, the passion fruit's gone crazy and it just way overshades everything a little bit too much for those 3 beds. So as much as I did plant that passion fruit deliberately there to get some shade, because as I've said a few times in previous videos, it gets very hot. Our sun is a killer. We'd like to shade it a little bit more than maybe a northern hemisphere friend. So yeah, passion fruit's going to stay. The beds might move. Let's keep going this way. I can move the camera. That bed there, the timber one, I cleaned that out yesterday. I'm going to put our beetroots in this one. And then if you look down this way, so you can see along here, I've planted a row of morayas, and that's actually just a little bit of shade into the garden as we keep going that way. So I'm standing next to that bed that I'm going to plant the beetroots in today. This here, these are potatoes, and they're volunteers that have popped up, so I'm going to make that my dedicated potato bed this season. Behind me here, this will end up being a carrot bed, and it's currently lettuce. We did not get barely any lettuce out of our garden this summer because it was so hot, it bolted almost immediately. So what I'm doing is I'm letting these go to seed. So yesterday when I was out here, I did some of the other beds, I cleaned them up, and I did plant my garlic yesterday. I don't know if it's too early, it might be, but we're still learning here, okay? But what I did do was I harvested a couple of lettuce seed from the flowers, and I will not be buying lettuce seeds again, because this was this amount. Okay, I got out of just one of those little tufts of flowers you can see there, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but one of these little flower bulbs will actually, if you squeeze and twist, you'll find the lettuce seed is actually that little white bit there, but each flower bulb, like weeds, has lots and lots and lots and lots. So that's just from one little flower bulb, okay? And there's, half a dozen to a dozen seed in each one of those. And what I've got there behind me there wasn't many that were ready to harvest, so that's why it's still there. But as you can see, I've got lots and lots and lots of those little bulbs in here, and they're covered. So we're going to have a lot of lettuce seeds. Once they're done, I'll pull them out, and that will become a carrot bed. So moving down this way, I have already cleaned these 2 up. These are my 2 really long beds, and under those stakes, I've actually planted some lettuce seeds. The stakes are there to kind of keep the birds out. So my hanging CDs didn't work. The birds were smarter than that. So I have put those on to try and keep them from just digging out the seeds before they turn into a plant. And beyond that, that's the old carrots. I have harvested a couple. They're still tiny, so this is what I mean. Like, we've just had the hottest summer. I think it's really inhibited their growth as well. I have been feeding them with liquid power feed every week now. So yeah, we'll see how they go. but I've actually had to start buying carrots because of what's not coming out of our garden. Beyond that, we've got nothing, so we are ready to start planting, and I believe I'll go and find my plan, but I think I'm going to put some leeks in there. And at the very end, we still do have a couple of capsicum bushes. In this bed next to me here, we have our tomatoes. These were Romas that I planted at the beginning of spring. They're coming back to life now. So go figure that out. We never got any fruit out of it. Some marigolds in between, they look good. So I'm just leaving those there to see what will happen, because it would be nice to get something. Beyond that, we've got some capsicums, and they are looking very sad as well. And some baby capsicums that were newly planted in spring. So this first section just here, that is like last year's capsicums. They don't die off in our winter. If anything, we can grow them. And then beyond that, we've just got a new batch, a new fresh seeds were planted at spring, and so they are there. And then beyond that, nothing, because I've cleaned it ready to be planted. So these are those capsicums I was just talking about. You can see they don't look great. We have got a fair few grasshoppers at the moment hopping around. I am starting to see fruit now though, which is very exciting. There's some as well, some chilies I think. These are the new capsicums here, and they've got some little fruits on them. We got a kangaroo has come to say hi. Can you see him? And that's why our garden is fenced, because we have a lot of kangaroos. So this is where I planted garlic yesterday. Where you can see I've got some mulch. I didn't have any mulch left, so I couldn't cover the rest of the dirt. But in the middle here, I'm actually going to plant cabbages, and cabbages have been seeded over on that table that I showed you. The last of the 4 timber beds that I have sort of grouped together here that I haven't cleaned up. And as you can see, we've got some old leeks in there from last autumn maybe. Our chili bush is looking very sad, and just a whole lot of weeds. I did have my shade cloth over all these gardens all through summer. I have taken them off as I've been cleaning them up. It wasn't enough this year, so I'm going to have to get that one cleaned up, and that I'm also going to put cabbages in. I haven't decided what to do with this chilies. They look awful now, but I don't know if I maybe can prune them. So we'll see when I get round to that. And then I'll show you. Okay. Okay, we've got, remember the ginger we planted? Well, it's growing. Over there, 2 pots of zinnias, and turmeric is underneath one of those. And then you can see a giant mess. We have a lot of grass growing in there, but I do have a couple of other things as well. You can sort of see in the walkway there's tomatoes growing. Not a lot of fruit, but a lot of vine, and a pumpkin taken over at the back there. So I'll take you over there and show you what that looks like. And over here, that is a seed of pear tomatoes growing in the walkway, because there's the garden bed, there's the next garden bed, this is a footpath that I cannot get through, and yes, I know I could have staked them, I could have tied them. I didn't actually know what was going to happen with this crop, but there's caterpillars in there eating, but that's the sort of tomato that it is. Okay, we've got more zinnias, and we've got some really beautiful colours have come out this year. And to collect seed, this is what we do. We let it die completely, and then we'll pull the head. Give it a bit of a massage. That there, they're the seeds. Okay, I will let these just blow off. I don't mind if zinnias just pop up in the garden, but that's how you collect seed from a zinnia. So I did plant them in their colour groups. So they are my red ones. Here's a good example of what it was meant to look like. These are the orange ones. Okay, they're orange too. Some beautiful big pink ones. Because they're planted in their groups, I should be able to get colours, like I should know when I pick the heads that they should be those colours. And I've got some green over here. And then we have grass. A lot of grass. We have a pumpkin going along our fence here. This is zucchini in there. And we're not getting anything much better than that because they just get smashed by the fruit flies. Okay, these plants will all go to the chickens. You can see the damage that they've been doing. Alright, I've actually got a couple of capsicums here, so when this bed gets cleaned out, I'll pull them out. I do want to show you something pretty exciting though. So I've got some white and some purple zinnias as well. What I want to show you is in this mess here. Come with me. Can you see it? Can you see how big this is? Okay, hopefully you can get some perspective here on how massive. I've put a net over it. There's a hand for reference. We've got a couple of these. So there's one. Okay, and if I've just come down, there's that big one there. We've got a couple more here. Big one there. One at the front. Okay, there is one on the fence that I've just chucked a little net on. So these are not the pumpkins I normally grow. I normally grow Jap pumpkin because it's such good eating. I grew these, and I don't even know, this might be the Atlantic giant pumpkin. They're huge. Don't know if they'll be any good to eat. If not, they are chicken food. If they are good to eat, well, we'll be eating pumpkin for a while, won't we? I will have a look and see if that pumpkin, if I can see if that pumpkin's ready. But I thought, look, I'll show you my banana. It's loved the tropical humid weather, so it's growing. Let's go see if this has even got anything on it to indicate it's ready. Not quite ready. Found the tendril. Come and have a look at how big this thing is. Big this is. I don't know how they get into perspective for you. It's massive. It's actually huge. It sounds hollow, so I don't know how this will be to eat, but size of this thing. So that, friends, is our hot, humid summer garden tour. Not much to see other than those cool big pumpkins. I'm going to spend some time planting up some beetroot in my bed here, and then I might collect a few zinnia seeds, see how we go. It's still pretty wet. We got a bit of rain overnight, so I might actually, no, scrap that. I'm not going to collect seeds today because I don't want anything to be moist. So that's a tip. If you are collecting seeds from plants you've grown, you want to do it when you haven't had rain. You want your seed little pod to be nice and dry, which is the tip of a flower. Okay, that's all they are, or a broken down flower. Yeah, so I will save collecting seeds for another day. I will plant some beetroot today, see how we go in this bed. So friends, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden today. If you did like it and you want to follow along and see how our garden progresses as our months get cooler, don't forget to hit the little like and subscribe button. Don't forget the little bell, because that will tell you when I put a new video out. And yes, so have a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. There's my beetroot seeds. They look like little spaceships. So each one of these will be one beetroot if it comes to fruition. So I space them out accordingly.